Could your child or relative be sinking into drugs right in front of you without your knowledge? Hello guys and welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Victor T and of course you are watching Victor T Show. Today's topic we want to talk about drug and drug abuse. I'm joined by a professional counselor, a coach and also an educator. Karibu sana Mr. Hamisi.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for being here with us. I'm privileged to be back to handle this topic so that we can see what we can get out of it this day.
So thank you so much, Mr. Hamisi Mwai. So, Mr. Hamisi Mwai,
yes.
When I was growing up, I couldn't understand the difference between drug and drug abuse. So, can you kindly tell us what is the difference between drug and drug abuse?
Okay, drugs are any substance that alters the way someone operates. But then drug abuse is when you use that drug to an extent that it's not controlling yourself. You cannot function without using the drug.
Okay.
So when you start day one testing the drugs, you don't say you are addicted. But when it comes to a place where you can't function unless you use the drug, now this is when you say you are addicted.
Okay.
Yes.
And at what point do we say that someone is is abusing drugs?
This is when you are using these drugs. For example, sometimes the drugs that are being abused, apart from alcohol and marijuana and all these other drugs, even these medically accepted drugs that are sold over the counter can also be abused. For example, you find someone taking a lot of malaria pills, a lot of these sleep pills. When you take more, even of the prescribed medicine, more than the dosage, you are now abusing the drug. Yeah, so some drugs are good when they are taken under prescription, others are not when you take them over.
Okay, and what could be the reasons why these teenagers and children abuse these drugs?
There are very many reasons why they should be they do this.
Yes.
Most of the reasons are actually, and it is very unfortunate that you're talking about this topic because it is very rampant and the parents are very much concerned. One of the reasons is when people are in their teen years, they are very curious about testing things here and there without really wondering about the outcome of these drugs. Sometimes they want to belong to a group. That is another reason why they do this. Also, sometimes they have stress that is not addressed by the parents, by the teachers. So you find they get consolation in drugs. And another reason is because their peer is doing it. So they want to belong in a group. Yeah, they want to belong in a group. And unless you take this drug, you don't belong. Yes.
Okay. So does it mean that do we have the signs? Maybe a parent could look at and say or just conclude that this person, my kid is maybe abusing these drugs?
Yeah, there are very many signs that can really show you that your child is getting into drugs. One of the very common things to look at is they may start changing friends because they are childhood friends may not all of them be graduating to drugs. So they change friends to start having friendship with those who are who are in drugs. The other thing you will see that they start now having a lot of secrecy in the house. Like they lock their rooms very tightly. They want to hide. They want to lock themselves. And sometimes you even for marijuana and things like alcohol, you will smell them. Others you will just look at the eyes. You will see they have red eyes, and sometimes they'll be aggressive and all these things. So those are some of there are many, but those are just some of the signs you will have to look out for.
Okay, and when you talk about the parents monitoring their children and all that, does it mean that there are some things? Do we have some things that maybe a parent should not talk about, just talk about when mentioning drugs?
Yeah, there are things that parents should talk about when they are dealing with kids who are using drugs, because the ultimate goal is actually to save the child. Not to punish or to disown the child. So issues like saying, if you take drugs, I'm going to chase you out of my house. or you tell them things like, back in my day, children would not use drugs or things like this. It was not heard of it. You never heard of it. All these things scares the child.
Okay.
And now they don't stop taking the drugs. They just start taking it in secret because you appeared to be judgmental and all these things. So don't use that. Use languages like friendly language, like I care, like I'm here to help, like I know where drugs are taking you, I know the end product of it, how it appears. Use such a language that the child can see it is a safe space for him to share or her to share with you. Yes.
So that means that that you as a parent, a parent should initiate what we call open communication when dealing or handling this maybe. Okay. So, Esther Hamisi.
Yes.
Do we say, or is it good when you talk about a parent should introduce what we call open communication?
Open communication.
Okay.
Opens.
Yeah.
The child and let them see that there's someone to listen, there's a safe place for me to share my concerns, and they will be coming to you first before they go to their friend or even once to the street to get this information that they are holding from them. So open communication is absolutely what is needed in family.
Oh, because I realize that there are some parents doesn't want to talk about about things to do with the drugs when dealing with their children and all that.
Yeah.
So open communication, it is as good as this. So Mr. Habesi, how can a parent set healthy boundaries without being overly controlling their children?
Yeah, there is very easy for the parent who want to set boundaries because boundaries are not like rules without reason. You set boundaries, but you explain to the person why these boundaries, for what good these boundaries are set for you. There should be mutual respect. You should respect the child. The child should respect you back. The child should not feel like this is judgmental or it is punishment. They should see it like it is for their own good, so that they can comply. If you don't do that, they see it like punishment and they won't comply.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Mr. Hamisi. There is this thing, we have parents who have this drug abuse history, and then their children, of course, maybe their sons and daughters, they know that my dad or my mother abuses drugs. And then, you see, I don't know whether it is possible for this parent to tell now your daughter or son, stop abusing this drug. And he himself or herself is using this drug. How can you, in such a situation, how can you handle that?
Those parents who are still in drugs, they have not stopped. It's very hard for them to help their children to get out of drugs. They may need help with professionals or maybe other family people who are not using drugs to come and talk to their children. But for this parent who have overcome drugs, although he is known by the children that he was using drugs or she was using drugs, you should now use that to educate the children, not as being shameful about it, but to tell the children that I was able to overcome and now I have a good life. And that's why I'm protecting you not to get in, because when you get in, you are going to have a lot of trouble that I hate. So it is not something that you hide. The only thing that the parent need to do is to look at age-appropriate speech. So because for a child, you can't tell the child a lot of big things that they cannot understand. For bigger children, you can tell them bigger things. So at the age appropriate.
So this is what I want to ask you. There is that parent who in such a situation is, this parent is unable to tell maybe their daughter or son that you needed to stop this one. But then, how well can they partner maybe with such educator, an educator like you? How well? How can they partner so that they can, they can tell their sons and daughters not to continue using the drug?
This is what they can do. Parents who have children and they are not able maybe to help them, they can partner with schools. There are programs in schools.
Okay.
Even in some churches, there are these things called faith-based youth programs.
Okay.
Or even mentorship and leadership programs. There are also these, you may have a run for drugs, for educating the youth. We have this run. These parents should participate in these runs and sometimes involve the children in the run. Yeah, you should make sure that your children know what's going on in drugs. Yeah, let them know before they get in, because whether you talk about drugs or not, they are listening to drug talks about the drug talks in social media, from friends, from every other place. So if you don't talk, the communication doesn't stop. They are continuing in other places.
Okay. Of course, there's those parents who realize their kids are using, or rather, their children, they are using the drugs. That parent who is, hot-tempered and just, I'm going to kill, I'm going to do, they can do everything. They can do everything to their children to make sure that they stop them from using the drug. So, my question is, how should parents do if they suspect their child is using the drug?
So when parents realize that their children are using drugs, they can do the two things. They be harsh, and the children will not stop using. They will start hiding and using it in secret. Or they can be open and friendly to them, and the children will share with them about what's going on, how they started drugs, and why they are taking drugs, and why they can't even stop. So the parent will be able to help them. So approach this knowledge with wisdom. Let the child know that you are a safe space they can talk to. You are open to them. You are actually friendly than their friends. You are actually friendly than the streets. So that you will be the first person to help this child, because at the end of the day, nobody cares about this child more than you. So be open to the child.
Okay, you have said a parent should, be friendly when talking to their children. But then, what if the child admits that, yes, it's true, dad or mom, I'm using these drugs? What should be the next thing?
Now, in the first place, the fact that this child has actually disclosed to the parents that they are using drugs, first of all, this shows that this child has some trust to the parents. Otherwise, they would have kept quiet and hide like the other children. So when they communicate that they are using drugs, what they are telling you without saying is, I need help. That's why they are telling you. So this is not the time to judge them or to kick them or to disown them or to throw them out. You are now killing them. When they say this to you, they are saying, I am in this thing and I don't know the way out, and I think you can help. That's why I'm disclosing this. So you must have an understanding that this child is looking for help from you, and that's what you should do. Either get some professional help if they are very deep into drugs. You can get professional help, or maybe you can help them, or maybe you can fix them in these youth groups where they talk about drugs and they do a lot of work together as youth, and then let them occupy their time with other things that they are doing, so that they can start getting out. When it is too much, then you have to consider about rehabs and all these things when they are very deep. But if they are not, you can still get them out.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, we are just about by there to wrap it up. But there's this question, of course, I want to ask you. But, there is this child, of course, there is this one who, feeling that I'm going to start this, I want to start misusing this drug. And then my question is, even want kindly talk to this youth, of course, who are trying to stop this, to stop abusing this drug. Kindly talk to this youth, and of course, why they should not start abusing this drug. But even before that, let me talk to my viewers. So my viewers, if you are new here, kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. And make sure that you press that notification bell so that every time that we upload this video, you'll be the first person to watch this video. Mr. Amisi,
Yes.
talk to our youth.
Now, let me just start by saying that drugs are very costly, even when you are getting into them. They cost a lot of money to buy. Some of them are very expensive. And now getting out when you are addicted is again very expensive. Not just expensive, but it goes with your health. Some people have died out of drugs. Some people are in prison because they took drugs. Maybe someone was drunk excessively and they did something, and right now they are serving 30 years in prison just because they were their brain was not working at that time. So drugs are expensive. Buying them and using them and staying with them is very expensive. The reason why we tell people to stop, it is because if you weigh the advantages and disadvantages, you find that the advantages always outweigh.
Yes.
So getting out of drugs is saving your life. Drugs have killed people. If you drink a lot of alcohol, for example, you will get a liver disease. When it gets to a condition called liver cirrhosis, cirrhosis of the liver, it is the cancer of the liver, you die. So this we are talking about even death. We are talking about a point where you lose your life. So if you have not started, it's good to know that you are getting into your debt, you are getting into expenditure, you are getting into places where you can be jailed, you are getting into places where your relationships with other people will break. You cannot relate with your parents, you cannot relate with your siblings, you cannot relate with your friends because of the drug. So if you stop or if you don't start, you are doing a good service to yourself. Yes.
Wow, you have heard it. So viewers, I think we just come to an end of today's discussion. Thank you so much for watching us. From our end, peace.